do we unlearn? I think you have to, one of the ways that I've unlearned is I've tried to take what I realize have been inherited beliefs off the throne of my life. I think you have to dethrone belief systems and ways of thinking that you know are just not working for you. I think that's the beginning of unlearning, saying to yourself, this is not working, whatever it is. And then it's deliberately changing how you behave in that space, how you think about that situation. It's catching yourself, self-awareness. Self-awareness is the ability to auto-correct your own internal narrative. Self-awareness sees it happening and says, where's that come from? Why do I do that? I don't even think I believe that. I think I got that from someone else. And unlearning is deliberately deciding to respond differently in areas where you've always just autopilot responded like you always have. Not knowing it's faulty programming. It is data that I have wrongly interpreted. I think it's big and small things, but I think it's many small things every day that you do that are, I'm going to do this differently. I'm going to think about that differently. I'm going to respond and react differently because I think that's been bad learning in my nature and nurture. And you'll have your versions of those in your nationality. Like when I was in Singapore doing my masterclass and asked for Q&A, no one put a hand up. Because culturally, they're taught, don't put a hand up. Don't stand out, don't look stupid. Well, that's a killer for a question and answer session. So when I stopped the Q&A session, in fact, in Singapore, the only people that put a hand up in the room were Australians and Americans who were working there or living there. But when I stopped and went to the break and turned around, there's a long line of Singaporeans to ask questions. They didn't want to ask them publicly. So that is a nature and nurture programming that gives you a sense of often a lack of confidence and a lack of boldness and courage to stay inside that. So to unlearn that would be, and you emerging generation in here, you get to not do that. So if your programming says, don't put your hand up, what we want you to do is put your hand up and ask a question and break that pattern in your life. It's courage. That's why I said being yourself is the most courageous thing you'll ever do. Great question. Yeah. Anybody else?
I want to ask about how do you prosper your soul in this hectic world in the three aspects that you explained practically and strike a balance among our priorities from providing for our families, cultivating relationships, maintaining relations. Should we prioritize one aspect over the others? Because like it or not, isn't it contradictory when we have to be responsible for others, but we also have to prosper our souls?
Yes. I think the development of your soul, I have to allow you space, if I'm your friend, or your brother, or your parent, or this would be true in a spouse relationship. I have to allow you to figure out, as you do me, this is why we're all going to be in this together, what your soul loves. Now, you're not going to get that right every time, no more than the human needs. You might express your need for certainty in a negative way. I might express my need for variety in a negative way. All we can do, and all we should do, is allow each other space to get that wrong. But to be willing to do better and to be willing to evolve as best we can to be the best version of ourselves. So no, I don't think we should be trying to selfishly flourish in our soul. But sometimes I also think the people closest to you are the last ones to see what you need. And some of the most difficult people to help you flourish, because familiarity creates a blind spot. Like the guy wanted to be a rock star in a rock band. It's a threat. But to reframe it as a non-threat is more helpful to that relationship. Or otherwise it becomes a separation issue. So yes, I think we all need to develop individually. But if we're developing individually in close relationships, let's just talk about that. And let's reframe it as we go. and let's just tweak it as we go, is the best we can do. I think you've got to just watch for people that when you express a human need that they're threatened by, that you don't allow that to stop you. Because it's really they're being threatened rather than it being a healthy discussion. Is, I think, all we can do with this. It's not an exact science. It is a relational balancing act to do this well. And I'm advocating that.
Hi, Paul.
Hey.
Thanks for the powerful, inspiring sharing. It's
Thank
so
you.
good to have you here.
Thank you.
My question is, these 6 basic human needs, are these influenced by nature and nurture, like from the biogenic traits, sociogenic and ideogenic, and can it change along the way as we grow and we, yeah.
It's a great question. I've thought a lot about that. Are we born with our human needs being set? In my own journey, and watching my kids and others that I've known for years, I think the human needs change through life the more you live from your soul, not your ego. I think the pre-existent form of you, your soul, knows what your human needs should be, your top 2. When your soul gets a body and a nationality and a family and so on, as I said earlier, all these layers start to separate you from your core identity, as I said earlier. That's why I'm wanting us to come back to living from our soul. I think the more I've lived from my soul, for me anyway, in the last 20 years, and intensely the last 10 since I stopped pastoring, I have figured out much more my human needs, and my top 2 being certainty and growth and contribution are my top 2. I think now probably that will be set for my life. So I think they move around till they settle down. When they settle down, because they're rooted in your soul, not your ego, it's safe then to live with those human needs being your primary leading edge. I don't trust human needs that are rooted in ego and personality, is what I'm saying. So I think it only changes the more you live from your soul and your human needs get clearer, then you settle down to, I think that's my primary human need. You need to apologize for it or fix it or explain it. I think this is me. I now need to do that well in life because I think it's safe. It's rooted in my core identity. It's not rooted in my need to get you to do something for me or my need to control or manipulate you. It's not rooted in that which ego will do. So I think human needs change if you're open to the journey we're talking about today. If you're not, you will have flawed, mistaken human needs based on ego, because the ego itself is a false identity. So the clarity of this only happens when you stop living from your ego and start living from the soul. Because the soul wants to give back, the soul wants to serve, the soul's not fighting for anything. So whatever the human needs are that are rooted in the soul are going to be good and progressive. Great questions. Anybody else?
Shalom.
Yes, hi. Welcome.
You look amazing, by the way. I told my wife that I want to look like you when I'm your age.
Hang on, whoa. How old do you think I am?
My guess is, I think you're 30. So
that met my human need for certainty. You're close.
This is just a request. Correct me if I'm wrong, because this is my point of view. Because we live in this age, we live in this culture where we are big on the word passion. And what you say is in line where, you have to know what your soul desires, you have to know your passion and so on. And that's great. I believe in that as well. But somewhere along the line, I came to realize that as much as it is important again, I'm asking you to correct me if I'm wrong, yeah? As much as it is important for us to live by our passion, to fulfill our passion in life, to fulfill our destiny, that's great. But on the same time, we need to fully realize there's also another thing named responsibilities. And we don't know exactly when we will stumble our passion. And some people come and stumble their passion since they were young. They knew they're going to be a soccer player, or they're going to be a pianist, they're going to be whatever it is. Okay, some discovered that at mid-age, some discovered that really old. But for me, responsibilities at your every single stage of level of life, it's true. You cannot deny your responsibility at every single stage of your life, which means that at that time, you're supposed to do it. Either you are passionate about that, you're just supposed to do it. As a student, because I'm a teacher, sometimes I told my students, I don't care whether you're passionate or not about math. It's your responsibility for you to get that score right. It's a responsibility at the moment to perform in school. When you grow up, I don't care whether you're not passionate about that line of work. It's your responsibility to make a living, to get out of your parents' house. When you're old, it's your responsibility to do certain things. So in every single stage of life, I do believe there's responsibilities. And it is, to wait for you to really stumble upon your passion and then you begin to do something is just sometimes what I see as some people's excuse to avoid their responsibility. So please correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes.
Thank you.
You're on the screen here. I'm not ignoring you. I just realized you're here. And I can see you better here. I'm like, you're here. Great question. I thought quite a bit about this. I think my current present day take on this is that curiosity is better than passion. Passion can be a brutal taskmaster. Passion asks you to give up everything for it, and it might be wrong. So people abandon everything because I'm going to be a singer or a movie star or a whatever. Then a few years later, it's a disaster, and they sold everything and sold the house and relocated for their passion. So I think passion will ask far more of you than curiosity will. What we want is humans that remain curious all of their lives, because your curiosity will lead you towards your passions. But your passion will not keep you curious. Because once you find your passion, you stop being curious, because I've found my thing. And if you do that too early in life, you will stop too early and you'll stop short of what your real passions actually were. Curiosity is the superpower, not the passion. So we want you in life to be, we want flourishing humans, I think, are more hummingbirds than woodpeckers. You are moving from plant to plant to plant in curiosity. You're cross-pollinating the world by your curiosity, your interests. Woodpeckers stay in one place and hammer away for life. And passion makes you stay there hammering away until something happens and you die trying and lose everything trying. So I believe in passion, but I believe the way you find your passion is living from a curious soul. And then your passions will be discovered. And then once you've found your passion, enjoy it, be there, but don't stop being curious. I think if you stop being curious, you park up on old versions of you too. Be curious about you and the development of you. And so I would say that. I also think on the education thing, don't get me started on that, because I think the education system is broken, and I know you know that. All teachers know the education system's broken, because we're obsessed with answering this question that doesn't help humans flourish. We're obsessed with answering, how intelligent are you? Meaning maths, science, English. That is not the question that's going to be asked in the coming age. The coming age does not ask how intelligent are you, it asks how are you intelligent? In what way are you intelligent? Because many of you in here and your kids and kids' are going to be completely wired, even cellularly, genetically, neurally different. The generation that have been born are much more right brain, empathetic, sensitive, human connection oriented. They want meaning and significance. I want to make a difference. I want partnership. and involvement that way in what they do as career and choices and relationships than my generation that was left brain logic, information age, that's good for communication and systems and policies and connection and language, but it's not good for connection of humans. So we've built a world on left brain logic. Now there's a massive shift happening globally, and all the people who've built a life and a career on left brain logic skills in the West, their jobs are going to India. And they have no right brain skills. So they've developed no empathy, no compassion, no human connection, because I'm just in an office all day ticking boxes. I'm a logistics, detail, organizational, left brain logic genius. But the world is changing. And if you don't get that memo, what's going to happen in the West, it happens all the time now, people at my stage of life and midlife who built their life in left brain logic information age are not seeing the world's changing. One of the guys I mentor has an IT company. He tells me now, years ago, we just go and put in a software system, a database system. Now, they sit down and interview us. Do you understand the culture of our company? They say to us. And we're like, what? Just software. And the reason that the current bosses, these millennials, are saying to these older generation software database people is that you are coming in giving a logic system. We want to know, does this serve our culture of human connection in our business? So progressive companies like Virgin and Disney and Apple are understanding that we're in a game-changing world. I'm going to give you my reading list in case you're interested. It's going to come up on screen. These are some books I'm recommending that you read. They're going to help you understand where I'm coming from a lot more than perhaps I can help you understand in this couple of hours together.